I die every night. I know what heaven looks like. I had always dealt with sleep apnea ever since I was a child. My father had the same condition, so my parents didn't care that we were both choking in our sleep. When I started sleeping in the same bed with my wife, she did not find the way I sleep charming and had me go to the doctor. That's when I started going on the CPAP machine. I always had disconcerting dreams as a kid. It was always a gamble of either eerily peaceful landscapes to horrifying torture scenes. From being in a forested meadow watching a girl galloping through it as a half-deer centaur, to watching a man get slowly chewed and nipped by thousands of rats in a room made of hardened scarred flesh. I was never the one experiencing it, rather I was watching someone else experience it. I never wanted to share my dreams since the last time I did I got a talking to with my school counselor and parents. When I went on the CPAP machine my dreams changed. I was no longer suddenly appearing in a place, rather I was floating in space. Surrounding me were thousands of stars, each the size of a baseball, stretching infinitely. When I first saw it I was in awe. I urged myself forward and swam through the sea of stars. And then I accidentally hit one of them. The star grew until it fully encompassed me. I landed on the ground and ended up in a field of sunflowers, tall enough where the heads reached my shoulders. As I wandered around I found a clearing with a woman laying down on a soft futon. She looked up from the shadow I casted and had a genuine look of confusion. "Who are you?" she yelled. This was the first time anyone had ever noticed my presence, so I was scared. I ran back and broke through the fields of sunflowers until I ended up back into the ocean of stars. Then the alarm woke me up. I started exploring the space every time I slept, exploring at least 2 stars a night. It was the same as the dreams I always dreamt, a 50% chance of it being either a nightmare or a dream. I once saw a man on a treadmill running while having to peel his bloodied feet from the track, as it was constantly melding into it. Stuff like that. I always thought that I was ending up in the dreams and nightmares of others, that they would soon wake up like me. One night I ended up in a dream of a small girl, around 6. It was a birthday party in the backyard with balloons and a big plastic table with a huge 5-tiered chocolate cake and a spread of food all around it. Spaghetti, barbecue sticks, fried chicken, kids' party stuff. The one thing that creeped me out was that everybody else at the party had no face. The children and the adults all had hair and clothes, but their face was completely blank, and they were only standing and staring at the girl. The girl had light brown hair and a heavy splash of freckles. She was stuffing her face with cake and chicken. She had bright green eyes. When she saw me, she babbled with excitement and grabbed my hand to join her. I didn't want to stay, but she got a handful of cake, as big as she could, and stuffed it in my hand. I stayed and ate with her. They didn't taste like anything, so she enjoyed it more than me. Then I woke up. At work I saw the picture of the girl on the screen. She had been dead for 6 months. Her body was found in the basement with 2 others. I stared at her green eyes in the blurry photograph. A picture taken on her birthday, with chocolate cake splattered across her freckled face. From then on I tried talking to those I visited. Those in peaceful places at least. And I confirmed my theory. They were dead, some for longer than others. One old man in a mushroom cottage didn't have a last name, calling himself Robin's son. For a while I accepted this. I stopped trying to find their obituaries. There was nothing I could do. They were stuck in their little realms in either total bliss or total despair. All I could ever do was come in and chat with them. All the people in their calm realms were very friendly and kind. They shared coffee, teas, meals, all things that I couldn't taste but enjoyed nonetheless. I asked about when they were alive. They wouldn't remember. They knew their name, but that was about it. I guess I understood why. It's easier to be happier when you don't know what you're missing. On one of my travels I ended up in a flat, foggy place. The floor was purely concrete, and the sky was pitch black. Walking through it I found a boy, sleeping on a bed. He had long hair, spread across the pillow, but I couldn't see his face. When I called him he wouldn't wake up, so I left. At work I saw what might be him. He was missing, a 16-year-old boy with long hair. I knew I had to help, at least tried to find where he was last. I searched the stars. I never tried to visit a place twice, but I had to this time. It took 2 nights, searching through every star as quickly as possible, until I found him again, in the dark, foggy realm. I ran up to him and shook him awake. I shouted at him, "Do you remember where you were before you came here?" He was groggy, he didn't want to wake up, but I kept on shaking him until he sat up on the bed. I asked his name and where he lived. It was the same as the news coverage, but when I asked where he was before he came there, he drew a blank. I stayed with him for as long as possible, trying to retrace his steps. He remembered he was going to be a senior, he was bullied, and that he wanted to disappear. He wandered around town, and that was when his memory stopped. I feared for the worst, so I asked him where he usually liked to hang out. He said at the bridge at the edge of town, above a river. When I woke up, I went to the phone and called, saying he might be at the river. I hung up before they could ask who I was and waited for the news. That night they found him. His body moved downstream and was found in another town. I tried helping more, but the most I got was where they were last. It didn't help with kidnapping cases. At some point I didn't want to go to sleep. I didn't want to float around knowing that I was only helping to find their bodies, and that I couldn't help them any further than that. At one point I accidentally fell asleep without the CPAP machine, and I ended up in that little girl's heaven again. She was running around with the faceless kids, playing a game of tag. Soon she found me and asked me to join her. We played around for a while, eating barbecue and fried chicken until I woke up again.